TOEFL! Before we start, don't forget to like and subscribe. Good luck!
Please read through the directions or skip ahead. Passage number 1. Listen to a conversation between a student and a university professor.
Hi, Emma. Come on in. How can I help you today?
Hi, Dr. Harris. Thanks for meeting with me. I wanted to go over some things from the last exam. I felt like I studied a lot, but I didn't do as well as I hoped. I thought I understood the material, but I guess I missed some key points.
I'm glad you came in. Reviewing is a great way to make sure you're on the right track. Let's start by looking at which parts you struggled with.
I think the biggest challenge was understanding the different cycles, like the carbon cycle and nitrogen cycle. I get mixed up on the details, like what process happens in each cycle and why they're important.
Yes, those can be tricky. The key is to remember how each element moves through its cycle and why each step is significant. For example, with the carbon cycle, the main point is understanding how carbon is stored and released through processes like photosynthesis and respiration.
Right, photosynthesis. So carbon dioxide is used by plants and then respiration releases it back, correct?
Exactly. And think about the nitrogen cycle similarly. Plants need nitrogen to grow, but they can't just take it directly from the air. So there's a whole process involving bacteria to make it usable. Reviewing the role of each component can help you connect the dots between cycles.
I think I understand that now. Maybe I should make diagrams to visualize each cycle.
That's a good idea. Diagrams are really useful for these kinds of processes. They help you see the flow and how each step connects to the next. And remember, in this course, it's important to grasp the bigger picture, not just memorize the details.
Right. I tend to focus too much on memorizing and not enough on understanding the why. Is there anything else I should focus on?
Well, you could also try explaining the cycles out loud to yourself. Sometimes saying it out loud can make it clearer, and you'll see if you understand it, or if something sounds confusing.
I'll try that. And one last question. I've been struggling a bit with time management. Do you have any tips for balancing studying with everything else?
Definitely. Set small goals for each study session, like focusing on one concept per hour. It can help you avoid feeling overwhelmed. And don't forget to review regularly instead of cramming before exams.
Thank you, Dr. Harris. I feel more confident about what to do now. I'll definitely try these strategies.
You're welcome, Emma. Just keep practicing, and remember, I'm here to help if you need more guidance. See you in class.
What is the main topic of the conversation? What example does the professor use to explain the nitrogen cycle? Why does the professor suggest making diagrams? What can be concluded about the student's study habits based on her comments? What are two strategies the professor suggests to help Emma better understand the material? What is the professor's attitude toward Emma's desire to improve? Passage number 2. Listen to part of a talk in a linguistics class.
So, this concept is known as linguistic relativity, or, as it's sometimes called, the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis. According to this idea, the language we speak influences how we perceive and categorize the world around us. Take color, for example. Different cultures categorize colors in unique ways. In English, we use a single word, blue, to describe a wide range of shades. However, In Russian, there are two separate words for light blue, goluboy, and dark blue, siny. Studies have shown that Russian speakers are faster at distinguishing between light and dark shades of blue than English speakers. This suggests that having separate terms for colors may sharpen speakers' perceptions of those colors. Now, let's talk about direction. In some Indigenous Australian languages, speakers don't use relative directions like left or right. Instead, they rely on cardinal directions, north, south, east, and west, even when describing small, everyday movements. Imagine saying, "Move your cup a bit to the north," rather than to the left. Because they frequently use cardinal directions, these speakers are often remarkably oriented in their surroundings. They can identify directions accurately without a compass, a skill that seems to develop in tandem with the language they speak. Another interesting example involves time. For most English speakers, we imagine time as a line moving from left to right, past on the left, future on the right. But for speakers of Aymara, an indigenous language in South America, the future is considered to be behind them, and the past is in front. This reversal aligns with the idea that we can see the past clearly, like looking forward, but the future is hidden from us, like something behind our backs. Isn't that fascinating? These examples illustrate that language doesn't just help us communicate, it shapes our worldview. So, while everyone experiences similar sensations, like seeing colors or understanding directions, how we categorize and interpret these sensations can vary significantly based on language. This means that learning a new language might even expand the way you think and perceive the world. It's a fascinating area of study that blends linguistics, psychology, and anthropology.
What is the main topic of the lecture? What example does the professor provide to explain differences in color perception? Why does the professor mention the Aymara language's unique view of time? What conclusion does the professor reach about the influence of language on perception? What are two factors that illustrate the connection between language and spatial orientation? According to the lecture, why might learning a new language expand the way we think? Passage number 3. Listen to part of a talk in a sociology class.
Okay, so, in sociology, a family can be understood as a group of people connected by blood, marriage, or adoption, often living together and supporting each other emotionally and financially. But this is a broad definition, and in different cultures, family structures and roles can be remarkably diverse. Take, for example, the concept of the nuclear family, which consists of two parents and their children. This structure is common in Western societies, where families are often expected to be self-sufficient and separate from extended family members. However, in many other parts of the world, particularly in Asia, Africa, and Latin America, the extended family structure is much more common. Here, grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, and sometimes even close family friends may live in the same household or close by, and they all contribute to raising children and supporting one another. One key aspect we should consider is the social roles within these family structures. In traditional societies, family roles are often clearly defined, with specific responsibilities assigned to each member based on age and gender. For example, parents might be expected to work and provide for the family financially, while children might have responsibilities to help at home. In many cases, elders are given a great deal of respect and authority, and they may play an influential role in decision-making for the entire family. However, these roles are shifting in many places due to factors such as urbanization, education, and changing economic conditions. In some modern societies, gender roles within the family are becoming less rigid, with both men and women contributing to household responsibilities and child rearing. This is especially true in urban settings, where both parents often work outside the home. Additionally, many families are now smaller, partly due to economic pressures and a desire for greater independence. Now let's briefly touch on the concept of kinship. Kinship includes both biological relationships and social bonds. It's not just who you're related to by blood, it also includes relationships established through marriage and adoption. Some cultures have kinship systems where people refer to friends or community members as family, emphasizing social bonds over biological ties. Lastly, we have to consider the role of social structures in family dynamics. A family's structure and roles can influence a person's identity and their social interactions. For instance, in a society with a strong emphasis on family loyalty, individuals might prioritize family needs over personal ambitions. In contrast, more individualistic societies encourage independence and self-expression, often influencing how family members interact with one another. All right, to summarize, we've talked about different family structures, how roles are defined within families, the concept of kinship, and how social structures influence family dynamics. Let's discuss some questions.
What is the main topic of the lecture? What example does the professor use to illustrate family roles in traditional societies? Why does the professor mention kinship systems that include friends or community members? What conclusion does the professor reach about gender roles in modern family structures? What are two factors that the professor mentions as influencing changes in family roles? According to the professor, how does family structure influence an individual's identity?
This is the answer key for passages 1 through 3. Remember to focus on the main ideas and tone of the lecture. Understanding the speaker's perspective will help you choose the right answers. Take notes on key details and listen for any changes in topic. These cues will guide you through each question and improve your overall score.
And don't forget to level up.